imagine the ones who keep acting attached to leech. I am no pastor, but actually preaching. Look up these lyrics and actually read. That was where it all began. Had to put in work. Every day we got it in. We chased all our dreams and now they can't believe it. We make it look easy.
We are back again, y'all. Another exciting edition of The Porch, another episode, man. I'm here with my brother, Bolo, man. How you doing today?
Yes, sir. 10 toes down, man. Blessed, highly favored, man. God is good, man. Couldn't be here without God, so you know we can't get on the porch unless we thank God first. How you doing, brother?
Always, man. Always, man. God is good, and God is blessed with another amazing guest. And before I bring him to the show, though, we got to shout out Bet Online, man. Right now, it's March Madness. Sweet 16 is on the way for the men and the women, man. And the best site to go on if you want to do any sports gambling is betonline.ag. So make sure you go check them out. Use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get your 50% plus welcome bonus. But without further ado, man, we usually like to do a little small talk at the beginning, Bolo, and
we got to get straight to it.
For this episode, man, we got to get straight to it. We have a legend in the hip-hop industry, a legend in music, a legend in B.E.T. He's just a legend. The one and only Alvin Jones, man. Welcome to the porch.
Hey, man, it's good to be at the porch. And don't forget, I'm a legend in my own mind. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Love that.
And that's where it starts off at. If you don't believe it, nobody else can, though. So I love it.
Hang out on the porch with Bolo and D-Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yes. I love it, man. So,
hey, hold on, D. Now, first off, we got to compliment the background right now. The first thing I seen was the background. Yes. I mean, the plaques on the wall, I mean, it speaks for itself right now. Come on, like, if y'all got a visual on this right now, Porch family, come on now. You doing it big.
I love it, man. And I like he probably top 5 cleanest guests we've had come on the porch. That's man. You came suited and booted. He's standing up, like he's locked in the focus. I love it, Alvin.
Love it.
Oh man, another thing, Philip Grandison. Philip is a designer. It is funny because I just turned 65, right? And so he made me a suit. I'm also an automotive journalist, so I'm headed up in the morning to New York for the auto show. So that's going on. And then the folks with Aston Martin invited me to their new Q studio. And actually, Philip, I was able to hook him up with the folks at Aston Martin, Bentley, and Koenigsegg down here this past weekend. But I got to show you this because I don't know if you can see it, but right in are cars. And, and back here, it's got Rap City Creative. So shout out to Philip Grandison. He did a made-to-measure suit. I mean, this is literally my birthday suit. So I went on my birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Yes, sorry, birthday.
So I'm ready for my second half of what's going on. But to be on you guys' show, especially now with March Madness kicking off, they just announced today the whole thing with the NFL with the new kickoff rule.
Yes.
That's interesting. So they took from the XFL their rule about kicking. You guys know about, you'll tell them about that.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy though?
These are some of the plaques that I got at B.E.T. So over here is New Kids on the Block, Rob Bass, Freddie Jackson, LL. This is down here. Oh, that's Sade, Nasty Mix, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Jody Watley, Luther. Remember the Jets?
Come on now.
MC Hammer, and believe it or not, I even got a gold album from 10,000 Maniacs.
Wow, some legends on that wall right there, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was fun. When I first got at B.E.T., there weren't many Black videos. So, of course, everybody knows Donnie Simpson, Video Soul, The Love Bug, Old Green Eyes himself. So when I came in, Video Soul was that marquee show. Right. And there weren't videos. When I came into B.E.T., I first started doing what's called Video Vibration. So I remember the day, it was September 17th, 1984. That day, B.E.T. went from 20 to 40 people as far as the number of employees. And the day was very special because that was my mother's birthday. And what your mama wants you to do, have a job.
Right. Absolutely.
And we worked real hard to make sure that there were more Black videos committed. So Video Soul was 2 hours, 2 to 4 p.m., and then it would repeat. And then video preparations was live 4 to 8. So we had 4 hours, but we didn't have as many black videos. So basically, once a video got played, the video sold between 2 and 4, you couldn't touch it till like the 7 o'clock hour. So shoot, everything. I'm playing Ronnie Millsap. I'm playing Autograph. I'm playing Corey Hart, Sunglasses at Night. I'm playing David Bowie, until we were able to convince the record companies that black videos were important. And what was interesting, I saw my first music video in 1979. So that was before MTV, which started in 81. That was before B.E.T, which started in 80. And there's 3 guys, well, a couple of guys, Woody Johnson, who's rest his soul, Tony Winger, Doug Daniel, and Patrick Spencer. They were with the WIA, which was Warner Brothers Electra. So they had A&M, RCA, Solar, and they let me see these videos. So at that time, I'm a student at Howard University School of Television, Communications, Television Production. So I'm like, oh, wow, I'd love to be able to do these. So I remember when MTV came on, and Rick James, and this was talked about in the Welcome to Rap City documentary, Rick James gone on Billboard magazine and complained that there weren't black videos played on MTV. And I'm like, shoot, I know the videos. So I went to the guys, they gave me the videos, and I put together a show called Star Talk, did some interviews. I had Tom Brown, the guys with Clear. I did my second show, and the BET called me and offered me a job. And in high school, I wanted to have the first black television network, but I didn't. But I worked for the first black television network. And to have the idea to be offered an opportunity, because I had always said, man, look, well, you know what this is about. Be nice, when you want to get in, you hungry. I'm like, you know what? I will work at a radio or TV station. I will empty the trash. I will deliver. I'll answer the phone. So to be able to work for an organization. So I didn't create the first black television network, but I got a chance to work at the first black television network. So that was just amazing. And, years later, we're coming up on 40 years, and I'm still amazed I got that opportunity. Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful, man. Like, first of all, man, like I said, hats off to you, your story, your journey, going from a HBCU, a young black man with a dream and just a hustle, you know what I'm saying? And be able to take that and to look back now. And yeah, I believe Rap City was on air for 19 years, if I'm not mistaken. And it's still today
that
the
was the
longest standing, I think, television hip hop program ever. Like, and to have your name on, like, when you hear that though, like, how does that feel, Alvin? You got to take a moment to just look back and reflect. I would assume, like, wow, I really we did that.
Well, a couple of things I have to say. It was all a dream.
I used to read Word Up magazine.
Hey, Salt and Pepper.
Starting from the bottom, now we're here. What I really like, I was always into music, and actually I'm writing songs now and trying to get some things together. But I was always into music. I was always amazed by musicians. So I would listen to LTD and the Spinners and Rufus and Shaka Khan, and of course we all had to get out a Parliament Funkadelic album and listen to the music while we read the album cover. So to be around those artists and to be able to promote them, like when I was at WHUR, so we had Quiet Storm. So I was Melvin Lindsay's understudy. He's the man who created Quiet Storm. And I when people do Quiet Storm and love songs, it's not throwing stuff together. Melvin taught me that the songs were words and you're telling a story. So at any given time, you could tell what Melvin was feeling because the music gave you that idea. And that's what he taught me. And there's another guy, Don Roberts, who was doing it on the weekends before I did. They taught me it's not just throwing music together, it's telling a story and being able to touch people. So to be able to be around a Donnie Simpson, to be around a Melvin Lindsay, the people are pioneers, and the fact that they accepted me and let me in and trusted me, that to me is one of the biggest gifts you can ever have, is to be accepted by the people that you respect.
1000%.
Love it, man. No, for sure, man. And and more to that, I guess. So let's take a step back real quick, man. Like you said, I know we were diving deep into, BET and Rap City, but one question that we always like to ask our guests that it sounds kind of simple on the surface, but it's really kind of deep when you really think about it. Who is Alvin Jones? How would you answer that question?
All right. Alvin Jones is the son of Lois and Willie Jones. My dad's 93. My mom's 91. Coming up in May, they'll be married 66 years.
Wow, it's beautiful.
I'm also the embodiment of my family, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. The 22nd of this month, March, would have been my aunt's 125th birthday.
Wow.
Unfortunately, only lived to be 101, 7 months and 2 days. So she was born in 1899, lived to 2000. And one of the things when I left BET was just quality of life. There was a lot of stuff going on. I was doing the Quiet Storm on the weekends and then doing BET during the week. And when Melvin would be on vacation, I'd work for him. And you started missing events with family and friends. So I told my aunt, she was 92 when I left BET. And I said, for every year that you have a birthday, I will be there. And she lived to be 101. And then when she passed, my aunt Selma, we passed that on to her. And so from 2000 to 2020, for 20 years, every year that my aunt had a birthday, I was there. So for me, it is about family and friends. It's about my cousins who babysat me, my cousins who let me spend the night with them so I didn't have to drive back to Maryland because I was coming in doing overnights at the AM station that nobody could hear. And it's the fact that they're proud of me. Yeah. And if I can do anything to make people proud of me, that when they see me, they smile, that's who I am. I'm a giving person. I'm a person who likes to give back. So being able to help, when you watch the documentary for Welcome to Rap City, when you hear Busta Rhymes or you see that Jay-Z got his first on air with Big Daddy Kane, or you hear T.I. talks about going into this music thing, or Ludacris saying that when he was working in a radio station, Melanie Massey, who was with B.E.T., put him on. Those are the things that I like, to be able to know that I've been able to help people. That's what my life is about.
I love that. Love that. Now take us back, right? When did you get introduced to music?
I was young. I remember, I think I was like 7, 8, and I'm playing music on the radio. Well, actually, you used to have these big consoles. It was like furniture, and you'd open it up and the turntables were there, and you had all of that stuff in the speaker. So it was basically like furniture. And I remember playing a Miracles record. It was a stereo, and I noticed some instruments were coming out of this side and some instruments were coming out of that side. And I just started getting into music. Then I started realizing music was what told us what's going on. It gave us hope. Now, I also remember, because I just turned 65. So I remember being 4 or 5 years old. I got to stay up late to watch Ed Sullivan if somebody Black was on TV. Can you? Someone's Black on TV, so you get to stay up late because your parents did not want you to miss seeing someone Black on TV.
It was so rare at that time, right?
Right.
Like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible, insane. Man. And to that point, I mean, you mentioned, watching, Ed Sullivan on TV, and then obviously, we know what you ended up, what you became, within the industry. I got to ask you though, where did this creativity come from? Like, were you always that kid that was the creative, walking around just putting stuff together and coming up with these different ideas to create Rap City? Your brain has to be on another level, in my opinion.
No, I've always been a nerd. I've always been a person who talked. My Aunt Maddie, the one that lived to be 101, I would stay with her, and I'd go in the backyard, and I'd be under the tree, and I'd pretend like I was a preacher. So everybody thought I was going to be a preacher. It is funny because God rest his soul, there's another Alvin Jones, Alvin Augustus Jones, that we did projects with, and he was the pastor, the Reverend Dr. Alvin Augustus Jones. And my older brother, Donnell, was a pastor. So I'm kind of in between. There's an Alvin Jones and there's a pastor in the family. So I just kind of fit in there. But My mother and my father always told me when I was young I was smart because I always liked to learn. And I think what's really important, um, when you have children, let them think they're smart. Let them think that get things done. And if you do, that kind of carries it. It's really important what we tell children and youth, because you got to let them know that no matter what. I mean, I've been black all my life. I know that they're, but it wasn't going to stop me. And also the neighborhood that we grew up, Ardmore, Glen Arden, we were like Cosby kids before Cosby was on the air. So in our neighborhood, there was no fighting. Everybody was doing well. And you would spend a lot of time over your friend's house and their parents would adopt you. I've got a buddy of mine, Bill. We've known each other since I was 13. I'm his mother's son.
Right.
Well, she's praising me as much as my mom, and it's just having that community, having people to care about you, having family. I mean, like one of the funnest things we do in my family, we get together, we play Uno. That's the only time that I love me.
Uno can cause a lot of fights too now. Uno can get serious now, Alvin. So.
Especially if it depends on type of rules, house rules. Everybody got their own rules about Uno.
No, just straight rules. My mother, I know you called Uno, but you're going to draw 4. I'm like, who are you?
She in it to win it, man. I love it. I love it, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. Family. One thing I want to touch on before we move on, though, the point you made was how important it is that the message that we put into these kids' brains, because you're right, man. When you're a kid, we all had these huge dreams, whether it's to be a doctor, a nurse, a rapper, a singer, whatever it may be. As a kid, you don't understand the world yet. So like your brain is just in a free flowing, I guess mind state where you believe in everything that could possibly happen. And I do agree. I think it's so important as parents, adults, whoever, to let those kids believe in those things, man. And I always like to tell people, myself as I'm a creative myself. I still have that childlike, quote unquote ignorance, right, within me, to where I still believe I can do the incredible. And sometimes you might fall short, but the fact that I do believe that it has allowed me in life to land on the clouds a lot of time and do things that I never would have accomplished if I lack that confidence. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a very important message for everyone who's tuning in right now.
Well, it's interesting. I saw Killer Mike on The View after he won, and he said, you got to go back to that 9, 10, 12-year-old. Don't let that person die, that person who believes that anything can happen. What happens as time goes on, we get kind of beat down. We take our bumps and our bruises, but you got to keep pushing. You got to go. It's like now I'm at 65. I'm ready to get started. I am. And what's so interesting is the love that people have given me. Because for me, it wasn't about me. It was about creating something. And now it's gotten to that point where I got to look at Rap City. It wouldn't have lasted 19 years without the other people who came in. I'm more like Johnny Appleseed. I plant the seed and I move on and I want to do other things. So a lot of folks don't know. I was one of the first people, and a buddy of mine, that we went to Howard together. We were like one of the first people to put video online. We did some stuff with Microsoft in 2006. His wife was a meteorologist in Seattle, so he knew Bill Gates. She knew Bill Gates' mom. So they did this new thing called New Media. And we did NAACP Image Awards. So we interviewed Alicia Keys, the cast of Grey's Anatomy, and we also did Jamie Foxx. And what was funny back then, there were a bunch of people that we interviewed, and some of them didn't make the cut because they thought they weren't big enough. So at that time, Chris Brown wasn't big enough, so they didn't do anything. And then we, doing another project, we did Clive Davis's Grammy party, and we were going to do some more stuff with them. We wanted to do stuff in Cannes, and they said, "Oh, we don't think y'all can do this." So we ended up doing that with what was it? A TV Guide channel. So we interviewed the cast of Grey's Anatomy. She was the host. I was the producer. We had some friends that we worked with, that we always work with, that we direct. So I also remember going out to LA, this place called Real Time. And this was when everybody was doing Blockbuster. and was, you get it in the mail. But the guys that had real time ended up selling that technology to Netflix. And now you see video on the air. So to be a part of stuff when it first starts, 2003, I started working with Sirius XM doing the talk show. We had a chance to interview up and coming comedians. And there was one young lady, and I'd never heard of her. It was her first time doing national. It was Tiffany
Haddish.
And it was so long ago. At the time I was married, and she goes, "Oh, you're kind of cute. You're married." I'm like, "Yeah." She says, "Yeah, I saw your picture on MySpace." So it's always about what is next. What's the next level? Where do we go? And that's the kind of thing that I like. I want to. What's next? Where can I go next? If this is already established, let's do something else.
Absolutely. So Alvin, for us, I guess shed some light on the sustainability piece, right? Because obviously you see a lot of things come and go. Things are hot for a second, then it gets old, or people like it for a minute, and then people decide to move on. But the Rap City, it always was fresh. Obviously towards the back end when we were kind of, old enough to really understand and see it, we know every day we seen something, it was something new, it was a new flavor. We were interested every day because it was something new. I guess speak to like the hurdles you might have had to overcome to create that sustainability.
All right. Here's, like I said, once it got started, it got planted. Other people did things to freshen it up, and you always want that diversity. You want to include other people. You want to give them equity. And I just realized I did a keynote last week, and I'm like, I'm a DEI expert, but it was out. To start Rap City, there had to be some diversity because at that time, even with Video Soul and radio stations, they really did not include hip hop. There may have been, eventually, because I remember it's like that with Run DMC didn't get played at first, but then you had like Nucleus Jam on it every once in a while. Hey DJ, you playing this? There was a bunch of songs every once in a while, but most radio stations waited until like a Friday, Saturday night, and they so it wasn't included. So you got to realize with BET, it was about getting advertisers, bringing them in, and getting an audience. So right then you had your Luther Vandrosses, your Temptations, your Shaka Khans, your Jody Watleys. So they did not want to do anything to harm that formula where hip hop was fringe. So basically, anytime hip hop came in, they're like, well, we'll just stick it in Alvin Show video preparation. So I'm like, okay, cool. I go up to New York, there's a new music seminar, and everybody's complaining that they think BET doesn't play rap because, of course, with Video Soul, they're not, but I'm playing it. And it was interesting because that was around the time that Colors came out, so Ice-T's first song. And we're at New Music Seminar. We're on the 8th floor of the Marriott Marquis. And I'm talking to Hank Shockley, Public Enemy. He's like, "Oh, BET don't play no hip hop. What are you talking about? I play hip hop." And so, New York is a kind of, but, before I moved to Maryland, I lived over in Ward 7 in DC. So I didn't live in the projects. I lived between two projects, Eastgate and Silver City. So, like I said, I'm a nerd. I'm a nice guy, but I don't back down, especially when I know I'm right. So I'm like, boom, here's what we're going to do. I said, since you think, because he was like, well, you're not playing Dougie Fresh. I'm like, man, shut up. I just talked to Dennis's manager. I want Dougie to be a guest host. I don't want to hear. Oh, well, yeah. And there was a group, Fuji Rap and Polo. And there was a video. I didn't play it because he's telling the guy, tell your girl to step back or I'm going to smack her. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So I said, if you think you're going to grab your Johnsons and call women H's and B words, I'm not playing it. And he goes, well, so I said, no, I'm a moderator. Because remember at that time, my Aunt Maddie, this was like 1988, she was 89 years old. And I told Hank, hey, I'm not getting a call from my aunt. She's not going to go, what are you playing? And so Ice-T standing there. I ain't saying that, man. He's playing me. So I said, I tell you what, since you think I'm not playing hip hop, I'm going to do a whole show. And if it ain't hip hop, guess what? It's a commercial. And so it's that whole thing of don't believe me, just watch. So what I wanted to do back in that day, school didn't start until after Labor Day. So I took that week, right? And I wanted to do it when kids were in school. So we come on at 4 o'clock, but it's 1 o'clock in Seattle and San Francisco. So if school's is in, then kids are still in school. So I said, let me do it before school starts. Boom, did it. That first rap week, highest ratings in the history of B.E.T. Boom. So then we did another one during Christmas, and we had just moved in. So B.E.T. was co-owned. So Bob Johnson had 52% of B.E.T. 16% was Great Adventures, and they had Channel 20 and King's Dominion. Another 16% was HBO, and they helped us with marketing. Another 6% was TCI, which was a cable company that carried us. So Bob had 52%. He was still majority holding. We had moved the sales department out of HBO into this new building. James Ebron was the sales manager. So we came up to New York, and here's a new building, doesn't even have furniture. We're in an office. And so we're doing interviews. So we're doing Boogie Down Posse. We're doing Audio 2 and Milk. We're doing Eric B. We got Kid and Play. We got Fat Boys. We got Get Fresh Crew. It was so long ago. Q-Tip was in the Jungle Brothers. And so MC Light. So we have all of these artists literally sitting down on the floor waiting to go in to do the interviews. And so it was taking a while. Everybody wants to, I want to get in, we'll get you in, we'll get you in. And so James is like, these guys need to eat. So James went and got pizza, got soda. So you got all these rap artists sitting on the floor, eating pizza, drinking soda, waiting for their time. So we aired that between Christmas and New Year's, highest ratings in history of B.E.T. Wow. So that week's breaking ratings at B.E.T. Then when New Edition came back and Johnny Gill joined and they had that Heartbreak tour, we did a special. Then that became the highest ratings in the history of B.E.T. And then we did another rap week that aired the week of Easter. Like I said, I wanted to make sure it was done. Everybody was in. Highest ratings in history of B.E.T. I go on vacation. They go, we're going to do a rap show. And that's how Rhapsody got started. But what I realized, now remember I told you the 17th of September 1984 was when I came in. And I'm like, oh man, I'm working for this Black network. This is going to be great. We're going to do all of this. Bob Johnson comes in. He goes, my goal is to ensure that B.E.T. is the predominant source for advertisers to reach the Black community. I'm like, oh. So Jeff Lee was the vice president of production. He says, what I want to do is call Jeff on the phone from my boat and say, how we doing, Jeff? He'll say, great, Bob. He'll say, good, I'll call you tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, this is a business. So I realized to get the attention, I had to do something that would get Bob's attention. Each time that we broke those rating records, that meant more advertising dollars. And so they gave me the wherewithal that I can do. They didn't tell me what I couldn't do. Matter of fact, they gave me everything. So we would do reggae, we would do rock, we'd do go-go, black rock, anything. And just to be able to be given that opportunity, and if they hadn't given me that, if Bob and Jeff Lee hadn't given me that, I wouldn't have been able to that. And also, as I talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, we had an intern. He's on the air by the name of Prime. His name is Han Dotson. A shout out to him. He just lost his mom, so I want to give him my prayers and my love. Definitely. But he wasn't even in the video department. He was over in the sports department. He's always talking about hip hop. So remember, during that time, everybody's like, "Oh man, we can't do hip hop. This stuff. What is this stuff? We don't be bothered." And I'm like, "Come over here. Tell me about this hip hop stuff." And so I would listen to him, and he schooled me. And so I always tell people, if it wasn't for his knowledge base, I would not have been able to pull this off. And I always tell people, when people are passionate about something that you don't understand, don't push it away. Listen. So there was the diversity of hearing a different thought. It was the inclusion of what he had to say. And even though I'm a producer, then you got associate producers, then you got production assistants, and then you have interns. Even though I was basically 3 steps higher on the organizational chart, I still thought it was important to listen to him and see what's going on.
That's huge. That's another. He dropping gems right now, boss. Another learning lesson right there, man. You don't never feel like you too big to listen to anybody in the room, man. You know, you can learn something from somebody on the street right now. You know what I'm saying? Always keep your ears open. And Alvin, you're someone who you said earlier, you're always looking for what's next. And that's another sign of that right there. Even when you were, you know, starting off as a producer, you know, this young guy who has his ear to the streets, he's like, maybe he has some knowledge that I don't know about yet. And you were willing to listen to it, and now you've seen what that turned into. Man, a huge shout out to you in just having a listening ear. I think too many people today don't have the listening ear because of pride or what have you. So, a question I got for you though, Alvin, man, when you think about Rap City and where it started and then kind of where it ended, what would you say were the two, I guess, the biggest differences that from the initial foundation? You know, I think it was 88, if I'm not mistaken.
I would rap 88, but 89 is when rap started. Yeah,
89. Okay, so from 89 until its final year, what was just the biggest differences within that whole evolution? I know it was a lot that went on.
It changed. You know, everything changes with you. When you start talking about fads, when you start talking about music, it's always with the youth. And if you don't pay attention to that, you get behind. So, for example, back in the 50s, when Elvis Presley was tearing up the charts, it was Perry Como that was getting the Grammys. So it's very difficult for folks to accept change. And each has their own message, they have their own stilo. And that's what's coming. I remember Jackson 5 had a song called You Better Make Way for the Young Folks. We always say the children are our future, and sometimes the future is today. So for me, I wasn't there for the whole time, but I didn't need to be, because what we started gave people some ideas, and then they had some ideas about what they wanted to do and what they wanted to try. And I'm glad that they had that ability. The same way that I had the ability to be creative, you can't ask for someone to give you the ability to be creative and do your thing and then stifle somebody else. And I think that's what Rap City last B.E.T is doing, because every time you turn around, new people were coming in with fresh ideas and trying things. And you got to, I remember before Tigger was on Rap City, he was an intern at WPGC here, then he was on the air, and he just had that energy where he was a guy that everybody liked. You know, guys wanted to hang out with him. And that energy and Prime and Chris Thomas, the mayor, because Chris was already on the road with the rap artist. And that whole idea here, when he would do the arm, and like that, we went to Indianapolis for Black History Month. And then we also went to, isn't Ball State in Indiana?
It's in Bussy, about 45 minutes north
of Indianapolis.
Yep. Indianapolis, that's my hometown, born and raised.
There you go. And so, so we went to Naptown, and then we also went for Black History Month to Seattle, because Norm Rice became the first Black mayor in Seattle. And people didn't even know there were Black people in Seattle. And that was right after Sir Mix-a-Lot did their first album. He's going to do the second album, because that first album had Posse on Broadway, then they had Beat and so forth. So I'm like, in most cases, heads of state have dinner together. So I'm like, what if we have the mayor of Seattle sit down and have dinner with the mayor of Rap City, and also Sir Mix-a-Lot? And when we came out, Seattle just loved us. NBC came by, we were at the Space Needle. That whole idea was B.E.T is coming to Seattle to check out the rap scene. And things like that, or having Chubb Rock on the show and talking about he had a 1400 SAT. There's all of this excellence. I remember when Moni Love and Queen Latifah were coming out, and Fresh Prince and Kwame and all of those things. But once you see that person is ready to the next thing, you go, okay, you got it. What do you want to do? I'm thinking I'm going to do this. Give it a try. What if it doesn't work? We're going to try something different.
Right.
Figure that out. And to me, it's about planting the seed. It's not about controlling it. But think about it. when you plant a seed, you put it down, you water it, and you don't go back the next day and dig it up and say, is the seed there? Or the next week, where the seed will come up, the plant will come up ready. So just nurture it, make sure you water it, give it what it needs. And sometimes it's just a, hey, what do you think about this? Or, I like that idea. Or, you know what? You're a little too timid. What do you mean? You should have done this. Well, I didn't think I was going to interrupt. Just go for it. So to me, it's always, let's go to that next thing. I'd rather have to pull you back than have to push you forward. I may say, save that for tomorrow, or that's going to be good, but the timing's not right. Put that to this. Well, what about it? Is it bad? It ain't bad. People ain't ready for it. Because the other thing, I have musical Tourette syndrome, so I can always quote music. George Clinton used to say, no one can hold back someone whose time it is. No, he said, no one can hold back something whose time has come, and us is what time it is. So like D-Nice, you guys roll up. It's your time. You see what I'm saying? You guys know this. You've been doing this long enough. You're getting a groove. You're building an audience. People are giving you feedback. And that feedback makes you better. And he goes, oh, man, we could have. How many times have you guys done the show and the show ends and you go, hey, we could have talked about more stuff?
Oh, yeah. So
absolutely.
many times.
All the time. All the time.
You want that creativity. You want that to happen. You know, Stevie Wonder's got more songs you will never hear. Prince, same thing with Tupac. Just keep that creativity going.
Absolutely. So Alvin, let me ask you a question. So obviously, you know, there's evolution with anything, right? Especially with rap, and, you know, like you said, you have an ear for music. What's your thought on kind of the evolution of rap now? You know, obviously it's more the expression is there, maybe a little bit more emotion that's involved in, you know, rap now. The art form is starting to like come out a little bit more too in certain aspects. What's your overall thought on like the evolution of like the rap game?
Oh, you can't control that. Once you let it go, it's like if you have children, you can think whatever you want them to be, they're going to be who they are. You may, I mean, this reminds me of me, and this reminds me of their mama, and then this can remind me of their grandfather. But I don't want to hold it. Here's the thing that's really interesting. Rap, hip hop is now 50 years old. Hip hop qualifies for AARP. So a lot of people tell me, well, do you think we'll bring back Rap City in the basement? I'm like, no, it's time for Rap City to go to the penthouse, to go to the exec, to be in the House and the Senate. Rap City needs to be in the White House. And so I never want to stifle creativity. Now, is there some lyrics I'm not crazy about? Yeah, that's going to happen anyway. So I look at some of the things that I hear and I go back, whoa, wait a minute. I used to listen to Blowfly.
Right. Come on now.
Well, the master rap. I'm here to rap soul to your butt. I mean, there's so many ways that things can go, and you got to let them play out. What I want to do is I want to see music become more inspirational. I want music to address some of the issues we have in our community. I want it to address some of the depression, some of the anxiety, mental health issues that we have. And if you think about it, let's go back to The Message. That was a song about dealing with anxiety and depression and racism. If you think about it, he's telling you what's going on. It's him sitting. Imagine Melly Mel sitting on the couch, laid back, talking to a therapist, going, "Don't push me. I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under." And those were the messages that we talked about. And not everything was pretty, because not everything we saw was pretty. But when you can talk about it and get it out, and then when other people can relate to it, they go, oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about. So hip hop will gain its footing. Hip hop will take it to the next level. At a certain point, we all have to, it's like, there are Amish people at a certain point, they leave Amish town, go into the city, do their thing, and come back to do what they're supposed to do. It's almost like the prodigal son. We will eventually find our way. If we start well when we're young, at a certain point, something will bring us back. So what I'm looking for hip hop to do is to realize we got people. We need to talk about the pain that's going on. We need to talk about um, the anxiety we have. We have to talk about sometimes we feel that we're not treated fairly. We have to address those things. And I think music is the best way to do it. And I think hip hop is now ready for that. We're going to do some wild, crazy stuff. I got that. But overall, I think people are ready for hip hop to take it to that next level.
I agree 1,000%. Just from the simple fact of like, we're millennials, but behind us we have Gen Z, and they're so just like in tune with social media and like doing what they hear, doing what they see, and being manipulated by, things that they see online all the time. So being able to put out that image of things, I think creates better actions for the younger adults and for the youth growing up, because I think this is the biggest time than ever for them to, obviously tap into something that, they're greater than, rather than, the music that they listen to now. It's like they live through the music right now. And, obviously it plays a big part in some of the lower socioeconomic places, that we see. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and, obviously they have drill music as well. And that plays a big part in society, and people live through music like that too. So I definitely understand that.
I've been working with Core Masters Berry for the last 12 years, 15 years, doing what's called Blacks and Wax. And every year we do it at the Arc here in DC, and then we take it over to the Kennedy Center. Last weekend we were at the Kennedy Center, and we would normally talk about voting rights and history. So you have these youth who are not actresses or actors, from the ages anywhere from 6 to 17, and they're playing these characters. It could be Ernie Green from Little Rock Nine. It could be someone playing Martin Luther King. Someone playing the guy was a box brown that boxed himself and basically put himself in a box and mailed himself from Richmond to Philadelphia. And all the other people, the people that were part of the civil rights movement. And these kids would play these people. And they may play Alexis Herman, and they come to Kennedy Center, there's Alexis Herman there. Or they may be doing Tamika Mallory, she's there. But this year we did it on hip hop. And the kids pull it off. If you go to kennedycenter.org, I think it is, and type in Blacks and Wax, you'll see it. And you see these kids play all of these icons of hip hop, from Grandmaster Flash to MC Light to MC Ham. It's funny, you have to see the little kid. He's doing MC Hammer, and he's doing the movement, and he's got the lame pants.
Baggy pants on, yeah.
And he's dancing so hard that when it comes time for him to talk, he's out of breath. So you got, man. And all of these characters, Yo-Yo, Kimora Lee, Simmons, all of these things about hip hop, because it wasn't just the music, it was the graffiti artists, it was the Walker Ware and the Kanai and the Fubu. Right. But I tell folks, go to Kennedy Center, I think it's .org, type in Blacks and Wax, and you'll see some amazing kids. One girl played Queen Latifah, so that character, Queen Latifah, was the narrator for it. And at the end, Tamika Mallory gets on the phone and calls Queen Latifah and puts on the phone with the young lady.
Wow.
So you're paying Queen Latifah, and you get a call from Queen Latifah. So there's still hope. As they say, keep hope alive.
Absolutely.
No, I love that, man. I love that. So I got a few more questions before we move on to our final segment here. Again, appreciate you for hopping on here. One thing that came to my mind when Bolo was talking about just the power of music, and how you alluded to yourself as well, Alvin, how you hope music gets back to a point where it's kind of, more so education and teaching kids the right things. We've had different debates on this show in previous episodes about how powerful, I guess, music really is when it comes to influencing, but also more so the responsibility of music. I've always been on the side of, listen, not everything in music that you hear is good, but in my opinion, it's the parents or guardians' responsibility to raise their own kids. It's not the music artist's responsibility to raise their kids. Meaning that I don't think it's fair for society to like blame hip hop for if someone gets shot or someone's doing something wrong or someone's doing drugs, whatever case may be. Like, I don't think it's fair to blame music, because I'm gonna be real. I'm from the hood. I'm from the east side of Indianapolis. I grew up in those type of environments. I listen to music and listen to certain things that maybe I shouldn't been listening to at a young age, but at the same time, though, kept my grades up. I was in the streets. I played sports, so like I was able to listen to some stuff, but understand that that's not who I am, and still go on with my day. So like, I guess the question would be is like, do you feel like it's a responsibility of not just rappers, but just musicians in general to, I guess, watch what they say because of the youth?
It's a little bit of both, because one of the things you have to understand is our messages resonate. And if media is so powerful that if you don't see the whole side, you think this is what's true. So for example, a lot of times you may look at white folks who aren't around black folks, but they think that this is a stereotype. I thought, like growing up, I thought everybody who was Asian knew martial arts, because
Right.
guess who? I saw the Jackie Chans and the Bruce Lees and Enter the Dragons, all that stuff. So it does have an influence, but at the same token, there is a balance. I remember talking to a guy. They were doing a video game, and it was about a guy that was a hustler and this and so forth. And I'm like, I don't know. And he says, but it's, how you do it. And then I had to realize, I'm like, my girlfriend at the time, her son loved Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
But he was at American U on the dean's list, and he's now the assistant or deputy chief of police for Prince George's County. And I was able, with a friend of mine, get him an internship with the FBI. So we have to sometimes look at it in the totality. And so I would like to see more positive things so that there's a variety. It's funny because in the piece that we did on hip hop, C. Dolores Tucker was mentioned. And I met C. Dolores Tucker March of 1993. She and I, some other folks, we were doing stuff with Children's Defense Fund. So Hillary Clinton was on the board of Children's Defense Fund before she became First Lady. And so we left Rankin Chapel up at Howard University, went over to the White House, and we're sitting. And she was concerned because she had to take custody of her granddaughter. And her granddaughter was just out of sorts. And she knew Snoop Dogg's album was coming out. And she was very concerned about that. And of course, a lot of people shot her down for that. But she wasn't a fuddy-duddy. I mean, C. Dolores Tucker marched with Dr. King. C. Dolores Tucker was the first Black Secretary of State for Pennsylvania. So where people may have said, oh, she's way out here, she was really concerned about people. So a lot of times the people who are, you think are tough and overly tough, sometimes they're concerned about what goes on. So as we look forward to now, some of the things that she was concerned about has happened. It's funny, Buddy sent me a picture. We were at BRE, and it was a panel, and it was NWA, and we weren't playing NWA. I'm like, I can't play with an attitude.
Right.
And it was funny because I looked at the video, because in the video I had hair and a beard, and I'm going back and forth with Ice Cube about stuff, and Will Smith's like, I ain't saying nothing, and he's playing me. And then at the end of the conversation, it was just, we walked off in the hallway, and it was me and Eazy-E. And I'm like, look, I understand this is where you're coming from. It's like, I can't go back to my hometown and the Ardmore Rec where we play basketball and go, hey, I'm Alvin Jones from Quiet Storm and B.E.T. And they're like, dude, remember you used to miss the bus and my mother would pick you up on the road? So I understand you can't misrepresent where you are. I said, but I just can't do this here. And so sometimes a delay is not a denial. And sometimes I can go, just because I ain't doing this doesn't mean I don't like it. I have to be responsible for things. And so I'd like to think that I'm not a fuddy-duddy, but sometimes I got to look at things for what they are. And so if I don't agree with you, I'm going to say so, and I'm going to tell you where I have the problem with. So even with the scenario with Hank Shockley, when Public Enemy did their next video was Night of the Living Bassheads. And so when they came down, Public Enemy came in and Hank Shockley came down, he said, oh man, I thought about what you said. So I always tell people, you can't be friends with people if you can't argue with them. If I can't Bolo, I ain't like that, man. And you say, what's wrong, Alvin? Well, this was messed up and da-da-da. You're like, dude, that wasn't like that. Or that's just the way I feel. I'm like, okay, well, that's how you feel. This is how I feel. Gang's great. Come on, man. Turn the TV on. We'll deal with this later at halftime.
Right.
Right.
We have to have dialogue with each other. If we don't agree, we have to say we don't agree. And we have to say why we don't agree. So I still think music has the ability to heal. And like, message in the music. I think we're going to get back to that because it's now needed. Sometimes we just want to go out and go wilding and we go, because really, once people start having kids, it becomes something different.
Yeah, nah. And I listen, I'm the only guy on here. I don't have any kids yet. I know Bolo has 2 younger ones, so maybe that's why I'm viewing things a little differently. But you know, I know that definitely impacts you and changes you. Alvin, one more question before we go to our final segment, which is the Plead the Fifth segment. So one of our new fun segments we like to end each show with. A little cliffhanger. But before we get there, I gotta ask you about Big Tigger. We mentioned him softly earlier, but we really didn't dive into him. Now, again, I'm 30 years old. Bolo's what, you're 32 right now?
31.
31 years old. So like I said, we're millennials. So like our childhood. What'd you say, Alvin?
I'm old enough to be your daddy.
Yes, sir.
You
Absolutely.
You don't look like it though, bro. I thought you was 38 when you first came on.
So you guys weren't even born when Rap City came about.
No, we wasn't. See, our generation, this is what I'm going to, we grew up with Big Tigger. So like to us, like Big Tigger is like
in the
guy.
basement. Right. Rap City, the basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like bringing him up, I guess, like talk about just and I don't know if you had already like left at this point in transition. Regardless, I know you still had your eye on Rap City is your baby. So I know you still had your eye on and your hands on it. Talk about the impact that Big Tigger had on Rap City.
Well, like I said, his personality was just amazing. He was cool, but he wasn't disrespectful. You know, you want to be cool and have a swag like Big Tigger, but he was smiling, having a good time, and then he'd go in and he'd kick some rhymes too, and you're like, oh my goodness. I mean, there's certain people who are brought into the world for something, and that's Tigger. I mean, even now he's still doing stuff with the Atlanta Braves and not. I don't know if he's doing Braves. I know he's doing stuff with the Falcons and the Hawks. Okay, Braves, Hawks, yeah. And he's still doing his radio show, but he's a person that, and he has a foundation. He's a person that people like, you know. And Donnie Simpson's that same way, and Melvin Lindsay, and these people come by. And the main thing I think with Tigger and even with Joe Clair, they wanted this so badly that they wanted it. And so when they got the opportunity, they were just happy. You know what I mean? And that's what you saw. You saw a person who was smart, who was charismatic, and also who was showing gratitude that he's happy. When people are happy, you get happy. You ever have somebody come to the room and they're laughing so hard, but they're laughing? And what I liked was young Black folks came home to see someone who looked like them that could relate to. You know, you think about Tigger was the Black Mr. Rogers, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And people, they're like, oh, wow, let me do my homework because Rap City's coming on. You know, who's he going to have now? Who's the new person? Who's going to go into here? It's something that people look forward to. We always need something that we can look forward to. So when you think about it, when you get older, some people like bowling or going to play basketball or doing darts or things like that, darts. But when you have something that you look forward to, it makes your day. You're sitting in class. Man, I can't wait till I get out of this class so I can go home. How Big Tigger. I wonder who's going to be in the booth. Is it Mama down and we ever gonna see his mama. And you just look forward to it. And he was able to pull that off effortlessly because he was just being himself.
Absolutely.
Hey, the easiest thing to do is just be you.
Be you.
Because
And it's
no one else can do it. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
so cool just because Rap City for us and Big Tigger, like that's just one of the childhood memories that we'll hold on forever. You know what I'm saying? Whenever we talk about, obviously we get into the age now, we kind of start to reminisce and talk about older times, right? So for us, right, in our generation, that's kind of one of our things that we hang our hat on. Like, hey, I remember after school, man, we used to watch, Rap City in the basement. And after that, 106 and Park came on. And then, it's like we used to just kind of go through the whole, flow of what TV was like for us at that time. And that was a big moment for us on, being able to watch TV like that.
Bolo and D-Nice, check this out. You guys got to come home and watch Someone Black every day.
Every day.
I got to see him if they want Ed Sullivan and got to stay up late.
Well, Alvin, listen, we want to thank you because you were one of the key pieces and reasons of why we were able to do that. Without Alvin Jones, it ain't no Big Tigger. It ain't no 106 Park. It ain't no basement. And we aren't able to listen to those guys and have that blessing. So we got to shout out to you and give you your flowers right here on this porch because, without you, it's not possible, man. We appreciate you.
100%.
When I took over Quiet Storm on the weekends, I was like 20 years old. So it's the #1 show in DC. And I'm doing it on the weekends and filling in. And people are like, well, you probably thought you were hot stuff at 20. I'm like, no, man, I was scared. It was already a #1 show. If it goes down, it's on me. Given the if you are given an opportunity and it works out and people benefit, it's cool. Because here's what's been real interesting since the Welcome to Rap City documentary has come out, and I'm running into people that I know. Oh man, we didn't know you did that. I'm like, I mentioned it, but y'all like, yeah, whatever. But to be able to do the interviews with you guys and so many folks have just embraced me. And people say, what it's like. I said, it's like you go to Disney World and they say, hey, Bolo, come here. D-Nice, come here. All right, Bolo, you're going to get in the Mickey Mouse costume. D-Nice, you're going to be in Donald Duck and you're going to walk around and everybody's going to smile at you and want to take a picture and hug you. And just to know you did something that meant something to people, I mean, that's the most wonderful feeling in the world, that you did something that made other people smile, that gave them comfort and joy. I mean, there is no high like that. Other than I did the skydiving, but that's a whole different scenario.
It's a different type of high right there, man. No, I love it. I love it. So, man, moving on to our final segment, man. It's called Plead the Fifth. So we have a list of questions that we're going to ask you. I won't tell you the total number. We have a list of questions that we're going to ask you, and you can either answer the question or say, I plead the fifth. Now, the only caveat is you only have 2 total plead the fifths that you can use. So you got to choose wisely. We've had some people who use all of them. Some people who have, haven't used any of them. They answered every single question. So we're going to ask you a list here and kind of quicker responses, more quick hitters. We'll go back and forth, me and Bolo, and go from there. Sounds good?
Hold on. All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
Bolo, you kick it off, Bolo.
Okay. #1, here you go, Alvin. Who was your favorite artist on Rap City?
Plead the Fifth.
He kicked it off with a quick.
There were so many artists I couldn't. That's like saying who's your favorite child? No. I got one left.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the next one. Okay. What's the craziest interaction you've had with an artist? Like, this is story time right now. You've talked to everybody. You got the plaques on the wall. I know, dealing with these, I've interviewed rappers, I've interviewed all type of people. Tell us the craziest interaction that you've personally dealt with an artist right now.
The craziest interaction I've had with an artist. I gotta think of this.
And when I say crazy can be an argument. It can be like whatever crazy is for you.
I got it. Okay. Remember I told you we did the rap week we wanted to do around Christmas.
Yep.
All right, we're in the new building, and we just moved in. So we're doing an interview in the back room. And so each person comes in, and we got the Fat Boys. And so we start doing the interview, and everybody's going like, what is that smell? And I'm like, I know one of them didn't just cut cheese, right? But damn, it turned out because that building was so new, when they turned on the heat, all of the stuff that was in the system started kicking out, and we thought it was them. So that was the craziest interaction, because I thought one of them cut the cheese, but they didn't. That was just this.
No, that's crazy.
Man.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. Okay. Next question. Okay, here we go, Alvin. So obviously, think about BET and the evolution of BET from then to now. Is Rap City the greatest show in BET history?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Speak on it. Stand on it, Alvin. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that was an easy one, because I'm not pleading the fifth on that one. I only got one left. I got to save it in case I need it.
Okay. I got one for you right now. Name your top 5 rappers of all time. Go.
Ooh.
Rakim. Five?
5 of them. Or you can plead the 5.
No, because I'm gonna need that for something else. I'll 5 that I like. Rakim. Wow. MC Light. Who else? Gotta do Tupac. But I do a caveat with that, because I used to do these talent showcases, and when they came in, the only time I had a fight, I didn't find out 2 years ago, was Tupac who threw a chair, and I'm like, what?
Hold on. Tupac threw a chair at you?
No. Well, I was doing something with B.E.T magazine, so I was doing showcases for local artists, because I was wanting to promote artists. And so it caught the eye of Sidney Miller, who had B.E.T magazine. So it was Jack the Rapper and B.E.T magazine that were like the top Black magazines, kind of similar to Billboard. And so they were going to do B.E.T magazine in DC, and Sidney Miller, God rest his soul, said, hey, I want to do a showcase. So we put some artists in, and all of a sudden a fight broke out. And I'd never had a fight. I was so mad. Hey, stop fighting. And it wasn't until 3 years later, my buddy Rob goes, oh yeah, I was standing, that was Tupac. He got into an argument with somebody, threw a chair, and that's when the fight started. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I still. Short-lived, but what he did for rap was so cool. I gotta say Craig Mack.
Ooh.
So when Brand New Flavor in Your Ear came out, man, the world was, here comes brand new flavor
in your ear.
Who's still good. And at the BET Hip Hop Awards, I thought was the best performance, LL.
Ooh.
And
last one.
I'm gonna have to say, not only for what she's done to represent and what she's still doing, I got to go with Queen Latifah.
Come on now.
Love that. I love that. And I love the diversity in your top 5 too. I think this is probably the most diverse top 5 D-Now we've ever received.
By far, man. Good mixture of the queens and kings in the list. Yeah, I like it.
Top 100, really. Because I would say also Dougie Fresh, Chuck G, Chubb Rock. Oh my goodness. Moni Love, Yo-Yo. I mean, Roxanne Shante.
Roxanne. I love how you can really tell that the eras are just different too. Because my list will be totally different. Bolo list will be totally like, it's crazy how the different eras really play a role.
Because you got to remember, back then we were playing videos, so it was Kevin or either Lewis. They were running. I was DJing, so I'm running the audio while they're playing back the videos. Man, we would be partying in that studio because I was unseen. So originally they were supposed to bring a camera and they never did. So kind of like you see with podcasts, like Charlemagne the God stuff, that's the way it was supposed to happen. And the camera never came in. And I started calling myself, oh, I know what it was. years ago it was called the Gong Show. And the Gong Show where you come out and you perform, and there would be celebrities. And if they didn't like you, they'd hit the gong and your ass have to leave. It's almost like Showtime at the Apollo when Sandman would come out. Yeah, but oh, I don't like this, boom, gong. And in between, they'd have this guy that had a paper bag over his head, and he'd come out and tell corny jokes, and they called him the unseen comic. So one time someone wrote in and says, why are you unseen? And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm the unseen VJ. So if you listen to MC Hammer's Have You Seen Her? The last line, he goes, searching high and low, what more can I say? The girl is hard to see like the unseen VJ. Have you seen her? Yeah.
Damn, that's hard. I didn't know that.
Game.
That's game. It's real game that you got to come on the porch to find out. Facts. All right, Bolo, you jump in there. We got a few more. Bolo, you jump in next.
All right, real quick. Okay, here we go, Alvin. Who was an artist you met, and after meeting them, you didn't either like them or they didn't meet your expectations?
Ooh. Keep it real, Alvin.
I didn't like them or they did not meet my expectations. I'm trying to think, who did I meet and go, this mother? I can't, you know what? If it was that strong, I would remember. So I'm not going to plead. I don't have one that I can recall. I'm not pleading the fifth to protect anybody. I just can't remember anyone that really disappointed me.
I feel that.
I respect that. I respect that.
Absolutely.
All right, like taking it to.
I change my answer if something hits me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
This the porch. Okay, going to today's artist. I need you to rank these three rappers in their order of greatness.
Ooh.
Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar.
1, 1, and 1.
See, I know what you're doing. Look at it. I see what you're
right
doing.
there. That's the savviness.
No, because we just did this piece and we talked about Kendrick Lamar, the fact that he won a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that something that wasn't classical music or something like won a Pulitzer. That's a big deal. J. Cole just won. He and Little Durk just won a Grammy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I had a chance to hang out with Teron Thomas, who wrote that song for them. And he became Songwriter of the Year. And then Drake, Drizzy, it's funny because years ago, I was doing a reel for free. I think I may still have the video. And we were putting together the reel. And I remember, Drake was smiling and flirting with her and stuff like that. But just to see how Drake's like the Justin Timberlake of Canada, who started off on a young show and is just taking things to that next level. I got to put him. That's a three-way tie for me.
All right. I think we got one more left, but I'm gonna let you end our way you want to do it. You want to do it last one, last set, best set, Bolo.
All right, Alvin. We're gonna put you on the spot. So, seeing that your top 5 did include a few of the world's most powerful women, right, in the rap game, we gotta talk about some of the women in today's rap game. So, who is your favorite current female rapper?
That's a good question. That question because, wow, that's hard. Because there's some that I respect because they've been in the game for a while. Everybody. It's funny. In the beginning, I did not get Cardi B.
Okay.
Because I had friends of mine my age talking about Cardi B and this and that and stuff. I'm like, really? And and then they were like, no, people respect her game, where she comes from, how she's straightforward. I'm like, okay. And then you got Nicki Minaj, she's been hanging in. That's a hard one because I just learned about, was it Ice Spice and some of those, I'm like, I don't know. That's a little too out there for me.
Right.
Not that I'm not knocking their hustle because they've got an artist and somebody likes it, but I probably would have to go with Cardi B. Yeah,
That's fair. I feel like Cardi B just had a project just dropped too. So
Over
love that.
Nicki,
Hey, I take
longevity. Alvin,
Barty.
have you heard
Here you
Nicki's verse
go.
on Monster?
Oh my
When this
God.
podcast go off, go type in Monster and understand why Nicki Minaj went last on the same track
I
that
love
had
Cardi B.
Jay-Z, Kanye, Rick Ross. She went last. And you know what that means, Alvin? You've been in music game for a long time. When you go last on a track, that usually means you had the hardest verse. So let's go back, listen to Monster.
no, it's what's funny that I remember Jay-Z was talking about one time. He was on the bill with DMX, right?
Yeah. Oh,
He says,
yeah.
talks about the lights on. He hears this noise and people are roaring. He comes out and then he takes his shirt off and then he said, then he stopped and did a prayer and everybody was crying and he walks off the stage. He's like, what am I supposed to do? He says, oh, I come out going, it's a hard knock life. So when you come on last, it's amazing. So I'm gonna go listen to Monster. I'm gonna make sure that I understand it. Look at that. Remember when Kid and Play they started doing Go-Go and so did Salt and Pepper?
Mm-hmm.
Rolling with Kid and Play and Shake Your Thing with Sugar Bear.
Yeah.
We were at the Cap Center. And so on that bill, it was Public Enemy, it was Heavy D. I'm not sure if LL was there, but Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play. But because it's in DC, Trouble Funk was going on. It was either Trouble Funk or EU was going last. And so right. Kid and Play was the last group before the Go-Go group. And everybody's like, get your butt off the stage. We want Trouble. Because Trouble Funk had pump me up. And, and it was funny, we're backstage. And Play's like, oh man, it was bad. He says, I was looking at Kid going, we going down. And that's when Herbie and them started doing the Shake Your Thing and Rolling with Kid and Play and started putting in that Go-Go groove into it. So yeah, going on last, you got to be strong. You got to be strong. So
that's a fact.
We get done.
Well, Mr. Alvin Jones, man, it's been an honor, man, to allow you to go last because, you are the legend, the creator of Rap City, the producer, radio host, entrepreneur, and much, much more, man. We want to give you this last kind of minute here to shout out anything you have going on, anything you want to promote. Let the fans know where they can find you online, social media, etc.
All right. No, but before we go, I got to plead the fifth with you guys.
Oh. Ooh. Okay, talk to us.
This is both of you. Do I get to come back on again?
Absolutely.
That's an easy one. That's an easy one.
Yeah,
I mean, getting there once is good, but if they let you come back, then it's sincere.
Come on, hey, let's work together. You're gonna come back again. We gonna produce this to a high level. This is gonna be your next B.E.T. show.
Other thing, D Nice, because you said you were from that town, right?
Come on now, 317 Far East Side.
So you know about the Indiana Black Expo.
Come on now, every July. What we doing?
Still, was Reverend Charles Williams alive when you were born? Did you know it? Did you ever hear him?
I heard the name. I'm born 94 though. I'm born 94. I'm a 94 baby. Reverend.
You don't know Reverend.
I know Reverend. I think I know Reverend.
Yeah. So and then there was a guy. He called himself Smooth Teddy B.
Yeah, come on now, Smooth Teddy B. We know. Yeah. Listen, we got legends. We got Babyface. We got legends. Vivica A. Mike Epps. We got real legends where I'm from.
Smooth Teddy B never got that level, but I still remember. What's the song? If I'm supposed to be your man, why are you always talking on the phone? Hold up, wait a minute. But that's my favorite. X doing sitting in it, putting his booty on my cushions, eating the food supposed to be for me. That was Smooth Teddy B, man.
Come on now. And that was like 93. That was like, I remember Teddy B. Teddy B had the little hot top fade with the glasses on. Yeah. Come on now.
And he had a song that I thought would do as well. He had a song Falling for You. It was kind of like a LL Cool J's I Need Love.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't play with this, man. I go deep.
I love it. I love it, man.
I want to do a shout out to Eddie Roman, who's like one of the best publicists, man. I met Eddie through a very good friend right before the Welcome to Rap City debut. And he's just introduced me to wonderful people like you guys. So Eddie Roman is one of the best PR people in the world. Is a great human being. So he put me together with you guys, and I've been able to speak to a lot of people because of him. Shout out to my mom, yeah. My friends, people like Bob Johnson, start folks who put something in me and let me know that I'm supposed to do something with it. And the folks who, I got friends who still put me in check. I have friends, if they smack me upside the head, I go, what did I do? You know what I mean? But also chance to talk with you guys and other folks and to spread love. And if I can bring positivity, if I can make people smile, that's what I want to do. My Instagram and Twitter is the Alvin Jones. I'm also doing car stuff. I'm going to go to New York for the auto show. That's Planet Vehicle. I am working with women in business. That's called Women's Business Report, or BR. It's WBRTV.us. There's a Women's Business Report. Doing some jazz stuff now. So it's kind of funny. I started with Quiet Storm, went to hip hop, and I'm doing jazz, but they all come around because if you think about it, some of the early hip hop had jazz elements in it. And so I just want to do what I can to make the world better and try to help. If people want to reach me, easy. Alvin at alvinjones.com.
I love it, man. Y'all heard what he said, man. Go show him some love, man. Alvin, it's been an honor and a pleasure. We're happy that we were able to give you your flowers here on the porch. I saw your page. You got a lot of other artists giving you your flowers. I saw Dave Chappelle, another legend from your city, gave you a lot of love as well, man, and countless others. So,
you know what's so funny about that? My friends go, yeah, he had to tell you to shut up, because they were like, yeah, I know you were going to say something. I was like, I'm here, like, If you look at it, he goes, I got this. And I was just there. If you saw I had my hand on my mom, and nothing I can say other than thank you. Yeah. So
it's a big deal.
It feels good to know that something that you believed in came to fruition. So
come on now.
The people think, oh, this is crazy. It ain't going to work. You know, they thought hip hop was a fad. Nobody wanted to listen to Hans Dobson because they thought he didn't know anything. And sometimes you got gems right under you. We are a people. Think about this. You guys all talked about being creative, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We were created by a creator. So we have to be creative.
Ooh, drop the mic. Don't say nothing else, Alvin. We was created by a creator, so we got to be creative.
Sometimes creative, we feel that we're run out of energy. We feel that we can't do this anymore. We feel that, man, I don't know what to do. You know what you have to do? You take a break and you do recreation. You know why they call it recreation? So you can recreate.
See,
damn,
your people was right about you being a pastor. They wasn't lying. You got that in your bag too, Alvin. I appreciate you, man. We need that motivation here on the porch. We're going to keep creating and recreating when we get tired, and we're going to bring it back. So you are more than welcome to come back, Alvin. We appreciate you. The Porch family appreciates you. Make sure everybody who's listening in right now through Apple or Spotify, hit that subscribe button, download the episode, tell a friend that this is The Porch. And Bolo, how do we end every single show?
Hey, just like Alvin said, hey, delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. So let's keep working. Let's keep continuing to be the best us, because every time we wake up, we make sure that the best you
is the best you. And we out. Peace.
That was where it all began. Had to put in work. Every day we got it in. We chased all our dreams and now they can't believe it. We make it look